Hi, Mark here from PondAlgaeSolutions.com, and as we get into spring, I wanted to share with you tips on things to keep in mind as you get going with your pond this year. We've talked in the past about pond startups and how to get going with all of that, so I won't rehash all that here, but I wanted to stress to people that one of the things that I see most commonly done, and one of the problems that I see, is people wait until algae shows up before they begin to worry about it or to treat it or anything like that. And you know, there's a lot to be said for taking a proactive approach as you start up your pond in the springtime, or as your large pond starts to clear of ice. It's important to try to think ahead and get ahead of algae and get ahead of weed growth if you can. One of the things that can help with that, of course, is ensuring that you've got good beneficial bacteria counts in the pond as you begin to warm up. Now, most brands of bacteria that you'll find on the market are a seasonal blend, meaning that they'll work from about 50 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature on up, and then things start to activate. The natural bacteria activates. There are all-season blends. We carry at least one that will work down to ice up, and then after ice out, and all the way through the summer months as well. But getting started in the spring to get the pond moving towards a balanced position, either getting a small pond started off right with good bacterial counts so that the biofilter is well primed, getting a large pond supplemented with some bacteria is very helpful to getting ahead of algae, lowering nutrients so that algae has much less to thrive on once conditions get ripe for it. Now, even though we're in the very early spring here in Iowa, the ice is out of some ponds, and you will see algae start to show up immediately. Some of this is due to longer sunlight exposure. As the days get longer, algae has more stimulant there, but also algae would never have survived for millions of years if it wasn't a thriving and adaptable plant. And so that's certainly something that you see you know, as it grows in the cooler weather of spring. So my best advice, though, is to think proactively with this. Your natural plants in a small pond, your desirable plants aren't going to be blooming yet, so algae's going to get a head start. I'd also say, too, that just because you see some algae growing early on in this process, don't get all freaked out and worried too much. Again, as good plants come along and as things start to balance out, the bacteria counts come up after possible supplementation early on, these things will start to help balance the pond out, and things will clear up. Biofilters become more active and primed, and so you start to see this balance restored. So it's not something that you can or need to worry incessantly about or get nervous about if you see algae suddenly cropping up in the springtime. But it's also a good reminder to remain proactive and try to take the steps that you can early on to get ahead of it as best you can. Aquatic weeds, too, before I go, large ponds with aquatic weeds. Best advice I can give you on those, treat early. As soon as you see those things start to show up, hit them with a targeted herbicide if that's necessary. You might use pond dye. We're going to do another supplementary video on this where we talk about a very natural tool for weed control that I think you'll be interested in. But in light of our topic today, I wanted to remind you, get proactive early and you may end up with less problems throughout the summer months. Hope that's helping with your pond, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.